Singleton, and today I'd like to talk to you about chlorofluorocarbons, also known as CFCs, and the ozone hole. In the last 25 years or so, you've probably heard a lot in the news about the CFCs and their negative impact on our environment. I'd like to tell you today how those reports are not necessarily accurate, and how CFCs can actually benefit our society more than harm it. First, I'd like to tell you what the ozone layer actually is and what purpose it serves. The ozone hole is a highly reactive, colorless gas that is made up of molecules. Each molecule contains 3 oxygen atoms. The ozone creates a filter for the Earth, which can't be broken down by visible or infrared light. What the ozone layer was actually designed and intended to do was to protect the Earth's surface from the really, really warm sun by absorbing the ultraviolet rays before they hit the Earth's surface. I guess I should mention when the ozone hole was first discovered, and some of the history on it. It was discovered in February of 1922 by NASA. They began performing numerous experiments, and soon found out that there was a major decrease in the ozone concentration. These experiments also showed that these changes in the ozone concentration were happening because there was chlorine in the stratosphere. They also found dangerous chlorine atoms that can break down the ozone layer, and these were found above Antarctica. Everyone began asking questions like, where did the chlorine come from? How did it get here? I guess I should first tell you that CFCs are man-made and they're very useful to us. Freon is a CFC used in firefighting agents and air conditioning. CFCs are also used as refrigeration things. And then there are some CFCs that are used to sterilize surgical instruments. CFCs are found to be completely non-toxic and chemically inert. So, then they were also found that they do not react with our bodies or those of animals, which makes them completely safe, and they became popular to use because of those reasons. Because of all the things that they were hearing in the news about how CFCs are the main reason for the depletion of the ozone layer, many scientists and legislators linked the ozone hole to chlorine. So they argued to have CFCs eliminated from our everyday use. Many world leaders signed the Montreal-London Protocol Treaty, and this treaty eliminated the production of CFCs. However, this treaty called for the elimination of the production of CFCs, not the usage. So, CFCs can still be legally used to this day, but are just not allowed to be made anymore. I think that this whole treaty was a bad idea, and the reason for it was because the legislators were uninformed and just didn't really know what they were talking about. My argument against eliminating CFCs is that a large loss of life would occur. If we can't use CFCs in our firefighting agents, we'll have to come up with another way to fight fires, when it seems like Freon is doing its job quite well already. As I mentioned before, CFCs are used in sterilizing surgical equipment. So, what happens when these super important instruments don't get sterilized well enough? This in itself can kill millions of people. Something my physical science book showed that I thought was rather interesting was how the ozone hole was discovered in 1956, but CFCs were not even widely used then. It was noted that the ozone hole appeared over Antarctica every year from August through November. Then the ozone hole would close up again and measure at pre-August levels. I'd like to go deeper on what the explanation of the ozone hole actually is. The ozone hole seems to be a naturally occurring phenomenon. Over the years, this hole has gotten deeper and deeper, and the concentration of ozone in the ozone layer over Antarctica from August through November is quite a bit lower, about 20%, than when it was first discovered back in 1956. So, something has to be happening to make the ozone hole worse than it was 50 years ago. However, it is important to note that the ozone concentration at the same location during the rest of the year, August through November, is about the same as it was 50 years ago. So, the ozone hole is deeper than it was, but only 3.5 months out of the year, August through November. When November is over, the ozone concentration goes back to the level it has always been since scientists began measuring the ozone concentration. The explanation of why this is happening lies in the understanding of the natural occurring phenomenon called the polar vortex. The polar vortex is what has been occurring August through November. It is the result of strong winds blowing around the South Pole, which keeps warmer air from entering the South Pole region. This causes super low temperatures. It has been recorded to get to negative 130 degrees Fahrenheit. During the polar vortex, water droplets freeze into tiny ice particles and are pushed into the stratosphere by the strong winds. If any of these ice particles have trapped molecules of chlorine inside of them, they survive the trip up to the stratosphere. And then when certain chemical reactions take place on the surface of the ice particles, then the chemical reactions somehow remove the chlorine from the molecules, which result in chlorine that can destroy the ozone. By November, the polar vortex is gone, along with the weather conditions, which allowed the ice particles to produce the chlorine. So, the ozone hole is a seasonal phenomenon that only happens 3.5 months out of the year. As I mentioned before, the ozone hole only appears over Antarctica, and that is because Antarctica is the only place in the world where strong polar vortex occurs. In summary, many misunderstandings have existed over the last 2.5 decades about CFCs. Uninformed legislators have made laws to stop the production of CFCs, which is really too bad, because many lives will be lost due to fires, infections, and food spoilage without the help of CFCs. It would be good if we could all learn more about how CFCs do and do not benefit our society before it's too late.